Welcome back to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm the host, Ron Jones, and you already know who he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm good. Still recovering from my toothache from yesterday. It's in and out. I'm okay at the moment, hopefully. If I start getting quiet during the podcast, you already know what's going on with my people. But I'm good. I am super excited because the season is right around the corner. We got training camp going on in the NFL right now. You got college football teams starting their free workouts right now. You got high school football like 2 weeks away. I'm excited. How are you feeling right now, Ray?
I'm ready to go, man. I'm pretty excited about it too. College football is like a little over 3 weeks away now, so we're good to go. NFL, excited and apprehensive. I just think that the money these teams are throwing at players right now is mind-boggling. But hey, not my money.
No, you're right. But we'll see how all that kind of plays out later on, and when everybody starts getting cap room and all that stuff like that. We'll start talking about that. But let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today, and that will be the breakdown of 5 teams that we select every week. This week, we'll be talking about James Madison. We'll be doing our first. Utah, Clemson, Missouri, and Boise State. So there's the 3 teams that we're talking about today. If you haven't been watching us the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been breaking down other teams. So if we're not talking about your favorite team today, go back to our other podcast. It's on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, inside the hashtag, go to live videos. When you go to live videos, you see all our other podcasts and talk about other teams and things like that. If your favorite, you talk about your favorite team, go in there, go look, leave a comment, and let us know. This is a live podcast as well, so you can fit a comment in here today if you want to, and let us know how you feel about the team that we're talking about today. But before we get started, we talk about James Madison. I want to let you guys know that we are sponsored by Phenom. So thank you, Phenom, for allowing us to have the podcast and being our first sponsor with the podcast. Just want to let you guys know, go to PhenomEliteBrand.com and you get the latest gear. As you see right here, they have great stuff. They got, the traditional gloves right here, which is different colors. You get blue, orange, red, whatever your team color is, they have it. You also got some specialty ones like this Kool-Aid one. They got, different brand ones as far as like DC comics. So if you like Flash, you like Superman, if you like Batman, they have all those. Other comic book stuff like Scooby-Doo, Sonic the Hedgehog, and all those kind of things. So you go to PhenomEliteBrand.com. You go in there, get you some nice gear because the season's about to start. You want to look good, feel good, play good, and you can save some money. So if you go to your checkout, we go to ICH Football and pick that in your promo code. You get 10% off of that as well. So you do that, you can save some money, you save some cash, and you can look good on the field. And we want to see you out there, man. We want to see y'all ball out. So do that right there, and you get save some money. And that does support us, so we do appreciate y'all doing that, and we do appreciate Phenom for sponsoring the podcast. All right, you ready to go?
Whenever you are.
Let's do it. All right, first team we're going to talk about is James Madison. He had a really good year last year at 11-2 overall. Just getting into the FCS circle and played really well last year. Tell us a little bit about how they were last year, of course.
Well, they were a good team last year. They went 11-2. They were 7-1 in their conference. Of course, they have a whole new coaching staff now and some new players. So we'll see how that all works out for them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they had a really good one. I know at one point they were, fighting to get into the college football playoffs. Or, I thought that was a little bit of a stretch, especially how it was last year. If it was the way they were this year, I think they could have snuck in. But they had a really incredible year. The 2 losses came at the end of the year, obviously. But yeah, let's get right into it. with the team, man, because they're coming back with senior quarterback Dylan Moore at the helm. What can you tell us about the quarterback position, right?
He is well, for one, Bob Chesney is the coach now. He's replacing Kirk Kennedy, and Chesney brought a quarterback with him from Holy Cross, where he had coached last year. He was a good coach there. His offense averaged like 37 points a game last year, so he brought the starting quarterback with him from Holy Cross. So again, he'll know the system, so he should hit the ground running. Just a matter of how much talent did they lose last year, and is how much of a difference will that make this year?
100%. A lot of the starters this year actually transfer kids. So a lot of offense and defense, we got a lot of transfers that came in and came out. So we'll see how this goes with that. But let's talk about some of their weapons. They got AL Agai, the running back, transfer as well, senior. They got Ferrani Penny, another transfer, Cam Ross, another transfer, and then they got Hodge Hudson. All three of them are wide receivers for them, and then they got their tight end Ty Wright. So, what's your thoughts on that group?
I'm a fan of Denny. He's the running back. He had a very productive year last year. I just think that, again, it's a new system. I mean, same system, but new situation. We'll see if this step up in competition, affects him at all. We'll see. But I mean, O'Day came from North Texas last year. He rushed for over 1,000 yards. So again, he's a productive player, but he is stepping up in competition a little bit. So we'll see how that goes.
100%. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the offensive line, right? You got again a lot of transfers that in here.
I mean, they have 4 starting seniors, so that's always a good sign. Should hit the ground running, know where each other's going to be, know again the system, what they want to get done on offense. They're going to run the ball. That's where Chesney has been as strong as a run game coaching. So.
100%. Yeah, we'll definitely see how that is. Now, let's go to the defense. The defense is a little unique defense. They got the 4-2-5. We talked about this with a couple of teams now are kind of going to that 4-2-5 concept now with actually safety. Again, a lot of transfers. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 out of their 11 players on defense are transfer guys. That's what they're listed as. We don't know if that's going to be true, but they got a lot of transfers in general, even some of their backups. But what should stick up to you on the defense, bro?
They got Lloyd Somerville, who's a transfer from USF. So he's a big productive kid. I think again they have linebacker Raymond Scott from Fresno State. They brought in Scott enters his 7th college football season, so he's a very experienced player. So that's going to be a good. I mean, that's not a bad thing though, especially when you're like trying to establish something in a new program for a head coach. I think that's a good situation to be in. But we'll see. Their defense has a lot of new faces on it, so we'll see how that looks from last year to this year. So,
100%. Yeah, I agree with you, right? They got a couple of corners in there. Terrence Spencer. The cornerbacks are a lot. The DBs, they got a lot of transfers. 3 of 5 guys are transfers. Ray Williams, Jakai Young, all transfers right there. Even on the front 7, and there's only, like I said, there's only 3 that are not transfers. Emmanuel Bush, Tyrus Jones, Chauncey Logan, and Jacob Thomas. And all of them, most of them are juniors. One of them is a senior. So we'll see. They got some experience back there. It's not like they're all young transfers or they got all young guys back there. But it's a lot of nuance on the team in general. So it's kind of hard to say how they're going to be this year with players transferring in and transferring out. But they had a really good year last year. So I think the expectations are still going to be high for them, but I'm not sure how they're going to do. We're going to get to a schedule in a while, in a second, but what do you think about that, Ray?
I think, like you said, there's going to be a difference in, in philosophies, in coaching. So that's always going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame because they were really good last year. And James Madison has traditionally been a pretty good program. So I don't think they're going to fall that far, to be honest with you. It's just a matter of if you look at their schedule early on, it's a favorable schedule. But that's what you need to do. You need to hit the ground running and make sure you win most of them early games because your schedule gets a little bit harder towards the end of the season.
Yeah, take advantage of what you got in front of you. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of that schedule, we're going to go into it right now. The first team they play against is Charlotte. We got to play against Gardner Webb, USC. By the way, Charlotte's going to be away. Gardner Webb's going to be home. USC is going to be away. Ball State's going to be home. We got Louisiana, Monroe. They're going to be away for that. They're going to be home against Coastal Carolina, away versus Georgia State, home versus Southern Missouri. Yeah, Southern Missouri. Away, I'm sorry, home for Georgia State. I'm sorry, the first Georgia is Southern, not Georgia State. They play Georgia State at home after they play Old Dominion. Away, they're away for Appalachian State, then they be home for Marshall. So looking at the schedule, Ray, what you thinking?
I mean, I think that again, I expect them to. I actually expect them to win at least 10 games. I do. I think that their coach is good. I think they're going to hit the ground running. I think they're going to do okay. I don't think there's going to be that big of a drop off because it's some of the same players from the program. They brought in some transfer guys to bolster up their lineup, but they're not listed as starters yet. So I mean, to me, that means the coach is going to put the best players out there. So that's always a good thing. I mean, it's just a matter of, to me, on offense, it's a matter of establishing the run game, and that's something that James Madison has always done anyway. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference from last year to this year. So.
100%. Yeah. I think this might be the first time me had a little bit of disagreement on the schedule. I give them 8 games right now. Now I can see what you're saying. Where some of the games are closer. I think they can be neck and neck with some of these other teams. But the fact with all the transfers and nuance on the team, you're right. They do have to take advantage of that early. So get all the kinks out the way early, because the harder games are at the end of the season. So that's the good thing about them. But USC, I don't see them beating them. Coastal Carolina, I think they can lose to them. Appalachian State, they can lose to them. I think Marshall's a really good team still. And then all the other teams are close games. I mean, Charlotte, they should be Charlotte, I think. I think they should be Ball State. Georgia Southern and Georgia State, I feel like they're kind of close. I mean, it really depends. Like, this is a hard team to really judge. There's so much nuance, so many transfers, so many different players that are on this team that we really don't know. Like, this is not the same team as last year, so you can't really judge what you're looking at from last year. You got to judge off of, all right, who's in there, who's the player, how good are the players, and how far you think it's going to go with the coaching. So I'm gonna give them a guarantee. I don't want to say guarantee, but I feel like a good number for them is 8 wins, and then a couple of the teams they can possibly win to still be booked.
I mean, I think the one thing you said about like the bringing in new players, I think we mentioned this before. I think every team's going to have to deal with that a little bit. Bringing in transfer players, blah blah blah. And honestly, Jerome, I agree with you. The games that they may struggle in will be North Carolina because we all know North Carolina has a good offense. Coastal Carolina, you would think, is usually a decent team. Appalachian State. The thing is, they lost to Appalachian State last year by 3 points. They destroyed Coastal Carolina 56-14 last year.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, I mean, again, it is a different season. I don't think they're going to go from 11 wins to 7 wins. I think 8, 9, 10 is probably a good number for them.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that, Ray. And we'll definitely see how this plays out for sure. Going into our next team, which will be Boise State. So as I try to look for them with my team, I can do it right now. Trying to push team in my process. So give me a second, guys. But yeah, Ray, what you have on Boise State?
I mean, I think that, again, we're talking about a team that's usually pretty good. They did not have a great year last year. They were 8-6. But there was also a decent amount of close games. We'll see how it goes. I mean, they did bring in Malachi Nelson, the quarterback from USC. So I think he's going to start. I think that's the game plan. They also brought in Jenny, a running back, who was a Mountain West Player of the Year last year. So I think their offense is going to be pretty good. I think it's just a matter of, if they can improve their defense a little bit. Their defense struggled a lot last year, gave up some leads that they had. And that, I think, is where we're going to see if there's any difference made. Because, again, Boise State's usually a pretty good team.
Definitely. All right, so my final guys to work. So Boise State was actually 8-6 last year. They beat they was the best team in Mountain West last year, being 6-2 in the conference. So had a solid year last year. It wasn't the greatest year, but solid year. So like you said, brought in Malachi Nelson from USC, a guy that we interviewed when he was in high school. Really high on him. So we'll definitely see how that goes. It's looking really good right now, in my opinion. But what's your thoughts on the record from last year?
Again, they struggled a lot last year, and they struggled on defense more than offense, where they gave up some leads, where they had some games. Like, there were games last year, I'm trying to look at the scores, like, where they played UCF, very close game. They actually was winning most of the game, and then the defense kind of just gave up the lead at the end. At Memphis, they were winning that game most of the game, and then gave up a lead at the end and lost by 3. Again, it's hard to – in football, the next season is always the next season. It's not, well, we were this last year, so we're going to be that this year. It's not really the case anymore, especially with the NIL stuff happening, players transferring all over the place. So, again, I think it'll be a case of if their defense improves, they're going to be a better team this year than they were last year.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that, though, right? I really do. Each year's different for each team, especially with now the transfer portal and everything. You can't really rely on last year. You got to kind of look at key pieces, who came in, kind of judge off of that. But let's get to their offense, Ray. Like we both mentioned already, Malachi Nelson, originally from USC, didn't get to play last year because of Caleb Williams was there. Also, Matt Miller. Is it Max or Matt? I think that's his name. But anyway, so then he transferred to Boise State. I do like the transfer because he got a really good running back behind him. Austin Jency, I think he's a top 5 running back right now in the country. Some might argue that, but I think he's a top 5 running back. Really good player. He's going to be awesome. Offensive line is solid. A lot of younger guys in there. I think they're better at run defense right now. I think the biggest issue right now is going to be them pass protecting for Malachi. Malachi do have scramble abilities though, so he has some ability to get out the pocket and things like that. But with their offense, their offensive weapons with Matt Lunar, really tall tight end right there for them. They also have Latrell Capes as a wide receiver. Cam Papers, who's a transfer over there. He's a grad student transfer, so he's going to be out there helping them out as well. Then they got French Stratton right there as well as a wide receiver. He's a sophomore and came in as a freshman last year, so he's a solid guy right there. What's your thoughts on the offense in general, Ray?
I think you said Stratton and Austin Bolt are two guys that have good speed, are nice deep threats, and they added a 5-star prospect in Chris Marshall, who had some off-field issues at Texas A&M last year. So they got him to transfer there. I think he's going to be the bigger possession guy with the speed that goes along with it. Again, I think Boise State's offense is not a problem. I think they're going to score points. I think they're going to put yards up. Again, it's going to come down to if their defense gets any better or not. But again, they have Cage Casey is a all-American offensive lineman. He's very good. It's again, a lot of it is going to depend on if their defense is good. Like you said, Janty rushed for average 112 yards a carry last year, so he's good. Their offense should be good. It's a matter again. I think
per game, not per carry.
I'm sorry, per game, yeah.
Per
game, 112 per game. So again, I think their offense is going to be good. It's a matter of if their defense can pick it up at all.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that, Ray. They're predicated. They're going to be a predicated run team anyway, so you don't have to worry about the offensive line too much. Again, they are a very young offensive line. Malachi Becton can get out of the pocket a little bit, so I'm excited to see how this team operates under Malachi, man. Now you got I think you got a really good quarterback that can, throw the ball, run the ball if he needs to. You got the RPO option for him to be out there as well. Then really lean on Austin Gentry to really, lead the way and beat out, also running back. And, defenses are going to try to, key on him anyway. But why not do RPO system with, Malachi in there? I think it's a good recipe. I think they're going to be a good team. We'll look at the schedule in a second, but I think they're going to be a good team.
Yeah. I think they'll definitely be better than 8-6.
Yeah, 100%. All right, get to the defense. Again, another defense that is running the 4-2-5. There's a lot of returning players. A lot of them are seniors on the defense. So we'll see how this goes, man. Like I said, right, they kind of struggled last year. This year they got, their youngest player is a sophomore. He's the edge rusher. Outside that, everybody's pretty much seniors and juniors, transfers, and things like that. What's your thoughts on the defense?
I think their defense is as far as their defensive linemen are good. I think that they're a little bit of a little light, so you can run against them a little bit. They're Ahmad Hassan, their defensive edge rusher, is very good. At 12.5 sacks last year. The problem with them is they're not consistent against the run. I think a lot of it will depend on if their linebacker play improves. But again, you're talking about a team that runs at 4-2-5, and that's what you do against them. You crash inside, man, and you get yardage. Again, I mean, I wish the teams weren't so reliant on that, but I think teams are looking at it like, and most teams do, like everybody throws the ball so much. If you gash us for yardage and we keep you out of the end zone, that's no problem. The problem is, like last year, that was the philosophy too, and that was great, except for when you needed to kill clock, and you couldn't. You know what I mean? Or you needed to get the ball back from the other team, and you couldn't because they were gashing you for yardage time. So
100%. I agree with the same thought on this defense, right? Same thing. It's just that they need to get those stops, get the ball back in the offensive hand. The offense should be better to help in the defense though too, right? Sustaining running drive. I think that they're gonna really rely on the RPO system. A lot of short throws, fake throws, running the football, getting the ball down the field. Malachi Nelson, running RPO and getting out there, that kind of deal. I think that's going to be a lot of how their offense one day. It's going to allow the defense to, tuck up some air, and keep them off the field as much as possible as well.
Agreed.
That's what you say. All right, let's get to the schedule. First game they playing is Georgia Southern. They're gonna be at Georgia Southern. Actually, I guess I can get to that game. That'd be a cool game to get to. They're gonna be at Oregon. It's the next game after that. After that, they're gonna be at Portland State at home. Sorry, Washington State at home. Utah State at home. Then they're gonna be away for Hawaii. They're gonna be away for UNLV. They're gonna be home versus San Diego State. Home versus Nevada, away versus St. Joseph State, away versus Wyoming, and home to finish the season against Oregon State. So looking at the schedule, Ray, what's your thoughts?
Honestly, Jerome, I think they're going to be way better than last year. I do. I think I see Washington State, Oregon, at Wyoming, fairly tough games. Oregon State maybe will be a fairly tough game, but I don't see them not winning at least 9 or 10 games. I really don't. So,
yeah, I agree, right? Looking at the schedule, I only see one true loss. I mean, obviously that's Oregon. I'm really high on Oregon. I think we're talking about Oregon already. No, we haven't, right? When we talk about, we're gonna see how much I think Oregon's gonna be good this year. It's unfortunate just that they're in my division this year.
We actually did Oregon week 1.
Okay, that's why I don't remember. Yeah, week 1 we did Oregon, but
yeah.
Man, I think that looking at it, man, Oregon's gonna be a team, man, this year, and that's the only blemish I think on her schedule, right? I think teams that can possibly win. Wyoming, I think, could be a hard game because they're away. Utah State, maybe Washington State is a better team. They're solid. But other than that, right, I don't see much getting in their way. I really don't. San Jose State,
I agree, Jerome. I don't see anybody on their schedule except for the Oregon game.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost bet they're not going to beat Oregon. But any of them other games they can win.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, it's usually Boise State is a pretty good team. So we'll see.
So I'll give them 2 losses just to give them an extra loss. But I really don't see them losing to anybody else. I think probably the next hardest game is Oregon State, and I'm not high on Oregon State this year. I'm really not. So,
I'm not either. San Diego State, has a solid defense, but nothing on offense. So, you know.
Right. So, we'll see how it goes, man. So, high praises for Boise State this year. We'll see how they do. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. Let's get to our next team, and that'll be Utah. So, Utah, a team that pretty known that I really like this team. I really like their team. They got Cam Rising coming back. So we'll be talking about that in a second, with Cam Rising being back in the starter lineup. Another guy that seems like he's been in the league forever. I think this is like his 8th year. Something crazy like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something crazy like that. So
yeah.
He's been in the league for a while as well. But let's look at their record from last year. Last year they ended the year at 8-5. Just looking at that record, they had some very surprising games, some closer games. I feel like if they had the quarterback play that they needed, they could have won a lot of games. A lot of those games were even held on because of their defense. But what's your thoughts on the team from last year, right?
I mean, again, we talked about the quarterback, Cam Rising, getting hurt. Their Brent Coote, their tight end is actually like their second or third best player. And Mekhi Bernard, their running back, all of them guys were hurt last year and missed games. So just having them back on the field should make them way more competitive.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I think they will be, very competitive, like you said, with the quarterback position being so a lot more stable again. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But let's talk about it. Like you said, Sam Rising coming back. huge guy. They got some pretty. I mean, they got a pretty good backup now for him. With Sam Hurd coming in as a transfer, that kind of helps him out just because he does get injured. Because it was in like spot last year. So we'll see how that goes. What's your thoughts on the quarterback position?
I like Cameron Rosen. I think he's a good football player. They also brought in Dorian Singer, a wide receiver from transfer from USC, who's a talented kid. So I think their offense is going to be better with better talent and their quarterback playing. I expect big things from Utah this year. I do. You should predict that, Jerome, because you're a jinx. So
tell everybody that, man. But yeah, I agree with you, right? They also brought in Mekhi Pittman. If that name comes from Mizzou, that is Michael Pittman Jr.'s younger brother. He transferred from Oregon, and I think he was at Oregon and somewhere else as well. But pretty good play right there. We'll see how he can kind of contribute. They got him at the spot at the moment for them. He was at Florida State as well. We'll see how he does. A senior. We'll see how he does as well. Obviously, they got Brent Cute. I think that's how they say his last name. Really good tight end.
Yes. Very good.
Really good pass catcher for them. They play a 11 personnel, so they're gonna be running two tight ends. They got tight end Y, tight end U. So Lennox Kings, their other tight end, is gonna be having in there in a rotation as well, as well as Money Parks, the wide receiver as well. What you think? What about the on their pass catchers?
I think they're good, solid football players. I think again, bringing in Singer to add to the mix is going to help them out a lot. They need that little spice to it. I think I don't know if Utah, they usually like to run the ball a decent amount, but I think in last year they tried to lean on the run a lot more than they will this year, I believe, because Rising coming back and he's a good player, and I don't see them doing that. So,
100%. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Let's also talk about their offensive line because interiorly they got some dogs in there. You got Johnny. I'm not saying. I just got all their last names. I'm like, yeah. They got some guys in the inside right there for the offensive line. I think the biggest not concern, but the biggest question marks are their tackles right now. So we got a freshman in there.
They only have one returning starter, so that's always a question mark when you don't have that, So
what's your thoughts on the tackles right there, Ray? They got they're very young right there.
I like Spencer Fano. That's their left tackle. He's a good player, and he's actually the one guy who's back from last year. Mm-hmm. I think Michael Mukafisi, I don't like saying that name, but I think I was wrong. He's actually a returning starter from last year. Again, you're Johnny Mai, who's a good football player as their center. He played a little bit last year, not enough to be considered a starter. But I think their offensive line is okay. And I think, again, with Rising back there, you're going to see them do some things on offense, get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, try to run the ball, not only run the ball like last year, like a dust of smoke, like more like trying to hit plays off of the run game this year. So,
yeah, definitely. So we'll definitely see how that goes, man. Let's talk about the defense. Right, every year almost. The reason why I like this team because they're always predicated on their defense and they do really well with their defense. Nathan Blair is kind of the best, right?
I think they got Keenan Johnson, who was a transfer from Georgia Tech, and Cameron Calhoun, who's a transfer from Michigan. And to add that to the guys that they had from last year, I think their defense is going to be good. And Utah's defense is traditionally pretty good. So I think it's going to be good. So that's why I don't want to doubt their offensive line, even though it's not that experienced. Usually their offensive lines are good. So I'm assuming they'll be pretty good this year. Their defense is good. Lander Barton, their linebacker, is very good. Keenan Johnson, the one corner, is a very, very good football player. I think their defense is going to be good. I think Utah is going to be good. I think they're going to be way better than last year. They were 8-5 last year, but we know why they were 8-5 last year. They just couldn't do anything consistently on offense to take any pressure off of their defense. So,
yeah, I agree. They try to run the ball, and it worked out in the beginning of the season. But then at the end of the season, teams started like pumping down on the run defense, and once you do that, you got to be able to, kind of balance with the passing, and it just didn't work for them. So,
and the other thing their conference was better last year because they had Washington and Oregon State was not a bad team last year, and they had some tough games where they're not going to have to worry about this year. They're not going to have that game.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So yeah, I agree with the defense. Cameron Calhoun is actually listed right now as a backup. We'll see. I think he will get some reps but he's only a freshman, redshirt freshman. So he's gonna have some time to, be able to, spot play here and there and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's get to their schedule for this year. So the first team they're gonna be playing is, I can't even tell you who this is. Hold on.
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be playing Southern Utah to open the season. That's gonna be at home. They're gonna be home against Baylor, away versus Utah State. They're gonna be away versus Oklahoma State. They're gonna be home for Arizona, away for Arizona State, home for TCU, away for Houston, home for BYU, away for Colorado, home for Iowa State, and away for USC. So looking at the schedule, what's your thoughts?
I'll be honest with you, Jerome. I think they're going to win at least 9 or 10 games. I really do. I don't think their offense is going to get in their way this year. I think it's going to be better. I think their defense is going to be what their defense is, and their schedule is not as good this year as it was last year again because they're not going to play USC. They're not going to play Washington. They're not going to play a Colorado. Oh, they do play Colorado though. That's going to be a tough game for them. But really, I see Baylor. Even though they beat Baylor last year, I think Baylor's a decent team. I think Utah State is an okay team. Oklahoma State is hit or miss. Sometimes some weeks are good, some weeks are bad. Besides for that, I don't see another game to the Colorado than Iowa State is a solid game. But I don't see where, like last year they were 8-5. If they don't go at least 10-3, something like that, I'd be surprised. 9-4,
Yeah, 100% right. Looking at the schedule, man, I'm gonna give them 9 to 10 wins. Like I said, so I agree with that. But looking at the schedule, I don't think there's a single team that can beat them, like just outright beat them. Colorado's got the best chance. Houston's a pretty good team. TCU, I feel like they're still rebuilding from a couple of years ago still. But outside of those, USC have a good chance as well to beat them. That's the last game with the schedule. But I think, with the offensive power they have, Cam Rising coming back, he can stay healthy. And I hate to say this because, like you said earlier, I got that little jinx thing. I did that to work. But there's not a team that can just outright beat this thing, I think.
I agree.
Not even Colorado.
I think, and even like Colorado, we think Colorado's going to be an improved team. But by then, who knows what Colorado is going to be? I expect Colorado to be a good team or better than last year. Are they going to be that much better than Utah? That is a definite loss. No, it's not. So,
I agree, man. So we'll see how it goes now. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, I like Utah. I'm a distant fan. So we'll see how that goes. I try to stay away from talking about them too much because I don't think good on the pitch. But a good team. Can't see them. Talk about good team. Our next team that we're going to be talking about is a team that is ascending. Team that surprised us very much last year, and that's going to be Mizzou, man. Right? Mizzou definitely surprised me last year, right? I don't think any of those thought they're going to be as good as they were, And then all they're doing is really just reloading, man. First of all, last year they ended the season 11-2, and this is in the SEC. SEC going 11-2. In the conference, it was 6-2. Let's start with last year. Obviously, what was your thoughts on how they played last year?
They, like you said, I think they were a little bit surprising. I think people knew they were pretty athletic. They'd been athletic for the last couple of years, but last year they actually put it all together and actually had a very nice season last year.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, they had some good players that came in. And let's get into the players real quick. Obviously, everything started with the quarterback position. Brady Cook was really good last year. First year being kind of like in that, atmosphere of one of the better quarterbacks looking at it. Coming into his senior year now, they brought in a pretty good backup, a guy that you know pretty well, Ray, Drew Pine, to be his backup as well. What's your thoughts on the quarterback position there?
I think that they're pretty solid there. I think Brady Cook is a good football player, and Drew Pine is the quintessential backup quarterback in college football. He'll give you energy. He won't give you a lot of talent, but he'll give you energy. And if you can run the ball, which I think with Marcus Carroll, they're going to run the ball, I think they're going to be pretty good. And we need to talk about how good their receivers are, man. Their receivers are good, man. They got Theo Weiss, Mookie Cooper, who are both seniors, and they have Luther Burton, who's probably the best receiver. And he's a top 5 receiver in college football. So he's that good, man.
I'll say top 3, right? He is.
He's in my top 3 too, but it don't matter who you are, you have to have him in your top 5. You have to.
Yeah, Luther Burton's gonna really extend with this team. Him and Brady Cook chemistry last year was unmatched. A lot of people give him the elite neighbors kind of comparison. A lot of people think he's better than elite neighbors. Elite neighbors in the first round this year, so. Really good receiver, fast, good hands. Route running is really good. He's gonna be huge coming into this, and it's not a lot of people that can stop him, bro. So we'll see about that. Like you said, they got Mookie Cooper, a really good transfer receiver as well, and Theo Reed is another wide receiver transfer from I think he was from Oklahoma, I believe.
He was. And again, you're talking about veteran senior players too. To go along with Burton, who's that talented, I expect Missouri to have a really good year this year. I really do.
I understand. Let's talk about the offensive line, though, Ray. What's your thoughts on their offensive line?
Their center, Connor Thomason, is a good football player. Armand Mimbo is a good football player as a right tackle. Everywhere else is kind of new and fresh. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes. But I think when you have a quarterback like who's athletic like Brady Cook is, and you block okay for him, I think they're going to be productive. I think they're going to score points. I think they're going to be a good team. I just think that people. Here's the one thing: is they're not going to surprise people the way they did last year. That was the one thing I'll say. People are going to be ready because we see how good their receiver core is. Their offensive line is solid. The quarterback has upside. So I think other people are going to see that too going into the season. So,
100%, yeah, and it's an SEC team, so they're gonna adjust to them. They're gonna kind of like look at what they did last year and try to adjust to how they were playing and how much for that. Luther Burton is on the map now. People know who he is, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he kind of work off of that, and be able to play with people that are going to be like, all right, we need to double this guy, kind of, So we're going to see a lot of double teams, or at least bracketing, because their other receivers are good too. So you can't necessarily just double him the entire game, but you can be like, all right, let's kind of hone in on him, let's focus on him, make sure we don't go too crazy on him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to their defense, Bray. Looking at the defense, they play a multiple defense. So a little bit of 3-4, a little bit of 4-3. What's your thoughts on how the defense looks?
I think the defense was very good last year. I think they're going to be pretty good this year. I love Christian Williams. Their defensive tackle was very good. Johnny Walker Jr., their senior edge rusher, is a very good football player. And that's the thing, like, the corners are solid, but I really like Joseph Charlton, their senior safety. I think he's the quarterback of the defense. He calls what they're going to play in their secondary. I think that they're very good, though. I mean, Chuck Hicks, their linebacker, is very good. They have a hybrid guy who plays like nickelback and a little bit of Dylan Carnell, who's a good tackler and can cover some. So I think they like you said, they play multiple fronts. They do multiple things on defense. I think that their defense is going to be good, and I expect Missouri to be a very good team this year. I do.
Yeah, definitely considering with Missouri, they lost a lot of DBs last year. They lost 3 DBs to the last year. And to be able to go in and look at their roster, you're like, wait, they didn't miss the beat too much, you know? So the question will be, hey, you got 3 new starters, you know, all good to decent players, but, you know, how will it kind of mesh? So I think that would be my biggest question mark. And plus, they got a lot of transfers in this defense as well. So we'll see how it meshes together. But on paper, it looks really good. On paper, it looks great. It looks like a team that can play together and play really well under Coach Greenwich. So we'll see how it goes, right?
I'm expecting them to be good. I think Drinkwitz is going to have a good season. I think that Missouri is going to have a good season. Now, that being said, they're still in the SEC, so good season for them means 10, 11 wins, maybe 3rd or 4th in the conference. But that's what it is, you know.
You got to remember, you got 2 new SEC teams that are in there, so make it even more tough.
You do, which makes it even more competitive because you still have the teams that were there, the Alabama and the Georgia, and now they're adding other teams to the conference. So it makes it more difficult for them. And we'll see how that plays out. But again, I think Missouri is a good football team. They're very athletic, especially at wide receiver. I think they're going to be good.
Correct. I agree. All right, let's talk about their schedule real quick, Ray. They're going to be home for the first 4 games. So it's going to be Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and Vanderbilt. That's the first 4. Next 2 games are going to be away versus Texas A&M and UMass. We're going to be home versus Auburn, away versus Alabama, home versus Oklahoma, away versus South Carolina and Mississippi State, and then they're going to finish this season home versus Arkansas. So looking at that, what you think, Barry?
You know what? I just said they're going to be good. I expect them to be good. I do see some tougher games. That Texas A&M game is going to be tough. Auburn is athletic. Oklahoma will run the ball on you. I still expect them to be, worst case scenario, 10 wins. You know, I mean,
8 to 9 wins. I see Alabama game is going to be the toughest game. I think Auburn is going to be a better team than they were. Texas A&M is always a sneaky team. We're going to see how that goes. That's going to be I think that's probably the funnest game that we'll see between the 2 teams.
I mean, you have South Carolina at Mississippi State. They're not pushover games, but they're games I think Missouri's better than those teams.
Correct.
We'll see.
I agree. I think they're better. I'm going to give them 8 to 9 wins. It's not terrible. Obviously, last year they did a little bit better. But like you said, you know, anything goes in this conference. I wouldn't be surprised if they get up to 10, maybe 11 wins, based on how they did last year and, you know, how the team looks. We just praised out of their roster. So we'll definitely see how that goes, man. Let's see. All right, let's get to our last and final team, and that will be Clemson. So before we get started, I want to shout out to my guy, Jeremy Johnson. He's on with us last night, and he thinks that Clemson is going to be one of those people kind of counting something out based on how last year kind of went. But I think they're a good team. So let's get right into it, Ray. Let's meet on them, which is here. So last year, Clemson was 9-4, very disappointing 9-4 in the ACC. Only 4-4 in the conference. So again, a lot of people kind of downplaying them, like, hey, they wasn't that good last year. But what's your thoughts on how they were last year?
I think Clemson was a little underachieving last year. I think we both expected more out of Cade Klubnik than we got.
Right.
But I think that they're an improving team and they have a good coach. We'll see how it goes. Offensive coordinator Garrett Riley is a good coach, but we have to see it. We have to see it on the field because we keep predicting. We keep waiting for Clemson to get back to being Clemson, and so far they've underachieved for the last 3 seasons. So,
I think it really comes down to the quarterback position of this team. Cade Klubnik needs to be a little bit better. Obviously, he's one of our guys. We talk very highly of him every year. Talk about how we think he should be a top quarterback, man. We got to interview him. We watched him so many times that when he was at Texas, played really well there. I think a lot of it is kind of decision making. But we also got to remember, last year was his first year starting. That was his first year starting. So I could see him really getting a lot more confident, starting the year fresh, a little bit less pressure on him to perform because a lot of people are kind of writing him off. So we'll definitely see how that goes. But let's get into their roster. And like I said, Klubnik's the guy there. They also have a pretty good sophomore in Trent Pierman. I think people really like him, or people that don't really like Klubnik really want Pierman to be the starter. I heard he's doing pretty well in springtime, so we'll see how that goes. Klubnik does kind of struggle. They got a guy that some people like. Let's start there, right? Quarterback position.
I think Klubnik's a talented guy. I'm just waiting for him to put it all together on the field. Now, we are just talking about a second-year starter, so, he still has a lot of room to grow and a lot of time to improve. I think that Phil Maffa, their running back, and their tight end, Jake Birmingham, are both good football players. I think they're going to feed them guys the ball. And their wide receiver depth is not great, but they did bring in a TJ Moore, who's a 5-star prospect. I think he's going to be a guy they may try to get on the field earlier rather than later.
Yeah, not only him as a 5-star freshman, but Brian Westphal as well. Really good.
Yes.
So right now, both of them are listed as backups. Their starters right now is Tyler Brown, Antonio Williams, and Adam Randolph. Tyler Brown and Antonio are sophomores. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of rotate those kind of guys in a little bit. You got Adam Randolph, who's kind of the veteran in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of rotate their receivers, man. Brian Westphal looked really good in the spring game, so I could see them kind of pushing him to get in there a little bit. But again, both of them are freshmen, so they might want to throw them out there to the fire right away. But like I said, right, Phil Maffa, I thought he was a really good running back. Kind of upset last year because, they had, what is his name? We're going to throw up the Eagles now, the running back from last year. Will Shipley.
Yeah.
They had Will Shipley last year, and he got injured. Maffa came in, and he was playing really well. I kind of wish that they didn't send him in, honestly. Simply because Maffa was playing so well, and I feel like they kind of rushed Will Shipley to come back so fast. And I thought Maffa was doing really well, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this year and how he kind of take that reign this year as well, for sure. As the number one guy.
I agree. I think Will Shipley was a good football player, and I think they were comfortable with him back there, especially with pass protection and all that stuff with a young quarterback. I think that's part of the reason why he played a little over Maffa. But we know that Maffa's way more explosive. and will hit the big play for you, which Shipley was not that guy. So.
Very good. All right, let's get our offensive line, Ray. What's your thoughts on them?
Good veteran offensive lineman, a good solid group, but like Clemson of other years, no studs, just good solid football players.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they come going against a really good defensive line, they might have some trouble. So we'll see. They kind of happened last year when they played really good defensive line. So we'll see how it goes. But I think they're a good solid line. They're not perfect. They're not stout, but they're not bad either. So
no, I agree. They're a good solid team, and their offensive line is good, very solid. They won't hurt themselves with penalties or nothing like that, but they also won't blow you off the line of scrimmage. They never do.
All right, man, let's talk about their defense, man. I think this is a position that is going to be really, really good. Obviously, Peter Wood is a guy that a lot of people are regarding as one of the better defensive ends. By the way, they have on the defensive end. They play a multiple defensive role. They play 3-4 and a 3-4-5, 3-4-2. So he's probably going to be moving around the defensive line a little bit. But they got him. They got Avion Terrell, sophomore corner that they look really high on. They got Barry Carter, another senior linebacker that's going to be playing really well. We talked about him when we talked about our defensive linebackers rankings. Another couple of guys I want to mention: Khalil Barnes, who's a sophomore safety, senior as well. They also got Sheldon Lewis, a guy that I'm really high on. I think he's going to kind of compete for some of those cornerback reps. RJ Mickens, a guy that we interviewed some time ago. I think he really started coming on, and I think he's going to have a really good year. Senior guy that's got one of the defensive line that nobody really knows about is DeMonte Capehart, another guy that we interviewed. I think he's going to have an opportunity to really show who he is as well and play well. But even with that, man, they got really good backups. Sammy Brown, who's going to be in the mix and getting the same role. Right now, they got him as a second middle linebacker, but we know that he's really good. They got, Vic Burley, really good defensive tackle. Evan Brown Schuler, who's going to try to get some reps in there as well. Another guy that we interviewed from down here as well. So this team is loaded in the back end. They got depth everywhere, especially on the defensive side. Really good at recruiting. Got a lot of guys in there. So want to know what you think about this defense.
I think it's a good group. I'm a big fan of T.J. Parker and Peter Woods, their edge rushers. Barry Carter, their middle linebacker. I'm sorry, the weak side linebacker is very good. R.J. Mickens, their senior safety, is very good. But he's surrounded by a lot of youth. So we'll see how that works for them.
Yeah.
Clemson is
I agree that he's surrounded by a lot of youth, but you got to think about it too. Avion Teller and Sheldon Lewis got a lot of playing time last year.
They did. They did. They played pretty well last year. My question is this: if they don't generate pass rush, are they willing to blitz as much as they should blitz in order to get to the quarterback? Because I don't think they had a lot of sacks last year. I think that was their number one problem on defense was they didn't get to the quarterback a whole lot. So
yeah, I'm excited about the defense though. They got a lot of guys in there. I want to see how it all comes together. But I think the strong point is definitely going to be their defense. They're young. They're going to be flying around. It's going to be good for them.
I mean, you bring in Wes Goodwin to coach the defense, to replace Brent Venables, and it still does not look like Clemson's defense used to look under Venables. So we'll see. Is that a talent issue? Is that a scheme issue? It's probably a little bit of both because that's usually the case. So.
All right, well, let's talk about the schedule. We're going to get right into it because they're going to be at Georgia for the first game of the season. So that's going to be a real test to see how good they're actually going to be this year. If they lose to Georgia, I don't think it's going to be at the end of the world, but I also think it's going to be able to tell us, like, what type of Clemson team we got. Like, if Georgia comes in and just banks on them, then we're going to be like, even though Georgia's a really good team, then you're going to be like, I don't know about Clemson, but
Well,
Right?
it's this. If they lose to Georgia, which we're going to predict they probably will, is it going to be a good game and they just lose a game at the end, or is it Georgia's way better than them? We'll see. You know.
100%. Yeah. They're gonna be home for the next 3 games versus Appalachian State, NC State, and Stanford. They're gonna be away for the next 2 games versus FSU and Wake Forest. They're gonna be home for Virginia and Louisville. They're gonna be away for VTech and Pitt, and then they're gonna finish the season home versus Citadel and South Carolina. So looking at the schedule, Ray, what's your thoughts?
I'll be honest with you, Jerome. I see them winning at least 9 or 10 games. I do. I think the first game against Georgia is a tough game. The game at Florida State, at Wake Forest are fairly tough games. And then West Virginia, I think, is a solid team. Besides for that, I don't see anything on their schedule.
Right. No, I agree, Ray. I'm giving them 10 to 11.
I agree. I'm trying to be not overly optimistic because Clemson's disappointed me the last couple of years. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Right.
But I do see a schedule. I do see a schedule where they could easily win 10, 11 games without a doubt. So
I understand. Yeah, if Clemson could play a lot better than he did last year, I fully expect them to do that. They can be a really good team, and teams that I think they can beat, they should beat. I think, UGA is the biggest one. Obviously, that's the big one in their game. We kind of all expect them to lose that game. A close one, FSU, and then right after that, I think probably South Carolina. I think that's my 3 teams that they can definitely lose to. Wake Forest is going to be a sneaky team. I'm really high on Wake Forest this year, so we'll see how that goes. Louisville, based on what they did last year, I think they lost a lot of pieces there. We'll talk about Louisville in another episode, so we'll see about them. NC State could be another one that can sneak up on them. They got a couple of teams that can definitely sneak up on them or beat them, but overall, I think they should be about 3 losses, 4 losses type of team.
I agree. My question would be, is if they have another disappointing year, they'll never get rid of Dabo Swinney. When I think about it, though, that's my thing. Like when you think about if Dabo goes 9-4 again with another reloaded roster, I don't think they would ever pull the trigger, but I think that you have to at least talk about it.
No, I understand. I think you're right. They got to at least talk about it because that's another disappointing year for them. It got to be in a question, but he does such a good job recruiting, and his recruiting class is so good right now. It's going to be hard to really just be like, all right, let's get rid of this guy. The players love him. He's really good at recruiting. He's really old school that don't really want to have transfers come in, which gives his guys opportunities to develop and grow under him. So I think that I don't know how much that might bite him in the butt later on, but again, with Clemson, you don't have a lot of guys transferring in and out. I don't think I have a single person on their roster that transfers out. In. No. Homegrown guys, they recruit really, really well. They get a lot of good players. Let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how it goes. Again, you got that second line of players that they had beyond this year. Really good players. So I'm curious to see how that goes. I cannot see them just get up and go like, all right, Dabo, you gotta go. That kind of deal. Unless you have
Plus, you gotta remember Dabo does have younger coordinators, so that would probably be what they would do before they got rid of Dabo. So
right. I agree. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and enjoyed the players and talking about all the players and teams that we're going to do here. If there's a player or team that you want us to discuss before the season starts, about 3 more weeks before we get really start diving into actual gameplay, If there's a special team that you want us to talk about, I'm sure we're not going to be able to talk about every single team, but let us know. Let us know the team so we can give you a special question, make sure that you get those in there. So make sure you go to our website, right under Ray, there's our QR code. You can use the QR code right behind me as well. We can find our YouTube channel and everything. And, let us know. We reply to all comments and everything. So you watch this on a replay instead of watching it live right now. We really do appreciate that. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we are live. We usually are live on Tuesdays at 7 or 7:30, depending on the day. But definitely appreciate y'all getting on. Right before we get off, you got anything you want to kind of add?
Not regarding college football. I'm very disappointed in Miami Dolphins. I didn't want them to sign Tua. I wanted them to just make him play on his fifth-year option, and they decided to sign him, which is fine because I knew they either were going to do that, either sign him or let him play on the option. I'm just very disappointed in my GM right now, man. I really am, because if you were going to just sign him and give him what he wanted, then you should have just did it 6 months ago and saved yourself money. I don't get why. I don't get waiting, and then I don't want to say anything. People are like being a sissy about it. Like, dude, you waited for 6 months, and then you gave him what he wanted anyway. I don't get it. Like, you could have signed him before Trevor Lawrence and these other guys and saved yourself a couple $1 million. But again, I know people think, well, Ray, why do you care about money? The salary cap. That's why I care about money.
Yeah.
But again, I guess the team's not worried about it. So I'm just some jerk off. That's all. It's okay.
No, it's a valid reason to be concerned, Ray. I get concerned
Funny
about
though, you know what's funny about it though, Jerome? Like, we consider ourselves hardcore football fans. That's fine. I agree. I think that's true. But when I was talking to a guy I work with, a guy named Eric, who's he's a football fan, but he's more of a basketball guy. When I told him that Tua signed for more money than Patrick Mahomes, he's like, "You're kidding, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding. He's getting more money than Patrick Mahomes." That to me sounds stupid. Okay, again, that's just me.
No, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy, right? Yeah, the whole dynamic with that is different, man. We'll definitely see how that plays out because there's a lot of teams that's doing it, and there's a lot of teams that still need to do it. Like, Cowboys are a guy, a couple of teams. I think there's a couple of teams. So we'll see how this goes with these huge contracts. I think the biggest one you got to look at is what's going on with Atlanta. They pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money, and they got a backup in there that's going to be, either not playing and they're going to have to make a decision to keep Kirk, or they're going to pay him, or how that's going to go. It's going to be interesting.
The thing is, though, that you're not paying the rookie anything. So you can sit there and let him sit down. Because honestly, if you want that kid to play well, he needs to sit on the bench for a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
He does. Build up his upper body, get a little bit stronger, because we know he's a talented kid. But if you put him out there too soon, you're just asking. You see how the Packers handled Jordan Love? That's exactly what you want to do with him. Handle him the same exact way. You have a veteran quarterback who will not lose games for you. He will. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is not a star, but he won't lose games for you. So why rush your quarterback in? Why not just let it play out? And because honestly, if you Kirk Cousins will sign. Kirk Cousins is a mercenary. He don't care who pays him as long as he's getting paid.
Yeah, definitely. So that is true, right? That's true. But yeah, we'll definitely see how this goes, man. I'm interested to see how the quarterback position rolls out and how all these contracts will play, man. I'm grateful that the Eagles got so many players locked in. Curious to see how they go about it moving forward. But that's something that I don't have to worry about right now. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. So, but that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Again, thank y'all so much for viewing us. Again, make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel so you see all our podcasts that we have or the interviews that we have with some of the players that are going from high school to college. A lot of, especially with Clemson, we got a lot of players that we interviewed from Clemson. So make sure you go check all that out so you can see, you can see the future of some of these teams early on. So thank you guys for getting on. Again, thanks Phenom for getting on with us. Again, make sure you go to PhenomEliteBrand.com and get all your gloves, cleats, got mouthpieces, all that on their website, and you can put in the promo code IPH football to save 10% off of that. Football season is coming, so you definitely want to make sure that you got some fresh next year and save some money on it as well. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for having this podcast. Thank you guys so much for viewing us, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.